this weekend, Andrew and I attended a rodeo. And Andrew and I are 100% not like country people. We don't even have like cowgirl hats, cowboy hats, or like none of that. And I grew up in the city. Andrew pretty much grew up in the city as well too. And now we kind of live in the country. It's not necessarily in the middle of nowhere, but definitely not living in the city. It's a lot more quieter here. And so there was a rodeo going on, and I just thought like this would be so much fun. And I heard from a few friends that like this is a big deal for country people. Like you're going to see everybody in cowgirl hats, cowboy boots. Like everyone's going to be in jeans. Everyone's going to be like dressed the part, so to speak. And I don't own a cowgirl hat. I have like one plaid shirt, but it was like super hot. There would be no way that I would be wearing a long sleeve in this weather. And I don't have cowboy boots or cowgirl boots. So I was like, okay, well, I could fit in like everyone else, or I can stand out and just be true to myself and, you know, what I want to wear and what's going to feel good for me. And so while everyone was in these cowgirl hats and, you know, cowgirl boots or whatever, I was like, I'm going to wear this cute beach top. I literally went in a bikini top with a bikini cover up and jeans shorts and flip-flops. Like bejeweled flip-flops with like diamonds. Like that's my vibe. That's just who I am. And I wanted to share this with you because this reminded me so much back in 2019. So at the time, every single person that I was around was dieting. Like every single person was dieting. At this time, nobody that I knew or nobody that I was following was healing their relationship with food. Nobody was talking about the importance of your mental health. Everyone was talking about intermittent fasting and keto. Like at the time, it was so big to talk about keto. Intermittent fasting was really a big thing at that time. Got to get protein and vegetables at every single meal, 10K steps, macros, tracking calories. And, you know, at the time I was, you know, working at a gym in our fitness studio. So I was surrounded by people that were, you know, wanting to just lose weight and like work out more and be mindful of what you're eating. The people that I was following on social media, you know, were all just dieting. And nobody was saying like, I'm going to start eating intuitively. I'm going to start listening to my body and I'm going to start being intuitive and being kind to my body. It was always like, push yourself harder, eat less, stick to your macros, you know, intermittent fast, like don't eat before a certain time, don't eat after a certain time. And that's what I was surrounded by at the time. And I had a choice. I could continue following through with what everyone else is doing, all these diets, everyone was doing diets, or I can choose to follow my heart. I could choose to listen to my heart that knew dieting was no longer for me. Yes, I did it for 10 years of my life, but I just knew that it made me more obsessive over food. It made me think about calories and food so much more. And I knew deep down to my core that it was time to heal my relationship with food. And was it scary? Yeah, because no one else was doing it. Was it scary to be the only person? Yes. Was it scary because I don't know if this is going to work? I don't have evidence for it working. I mean, I have evidence for diets working short term, and that's comfortable because, you know, I've done that for 10 years and plus everyone else is doing it. So I'm not going to feel like this weird, you know, outlier. Everyone else is dieting. Like that's safe. Everyone's talking about it. So I'm not going to feel like this, you know, weird oddball out. Like everyone's healing, everyone's dieting. So that's actually comfortable. But it didn't feel comfortable for me at that time. I remember being in my parents' bedroom and they had this mirror and I just looked at myself in the mirror. And I remember I was like taking some photos And I said to myself, this is your time to listen to your heart. This is your time to do what you know is best for you. Forget about what everyone else is doing. Forget about what you've done for 10 years of your life. You know it is time to work on your relationship with food. You know that eating intuitively is the way to go. You know, focusing on your mental health is your next step. I just felt it truly in my entire body, deep down to my core, that I needed to be different. I needed to do what I knew was best for me, not what everyone else was doing. And so that's when I chose to leave myself. I chose to do what was right for me, which was healing my relationship with food and breaking out of this 10-year battle of binge eating. And still to this day, it was the greatest decision of my life. It was such a pivotal moment in my life because I had a decision. I can either go down path A that's familiar, that everyone else is going, and it's safe and it's comfortable, but I'm going to keep continuing to think about food and binge, or I can go down path B where it's a little bit lonelier. It's a little bit lonelier because not everyone was healing their relationship with food, and the path wasn't really paved yet. And I said, I'm going to pave it. I'm going to go first because I just felt it in my heart and my soul and my entire body that was the path for me. Was it scary? Yes. But was it worth it? 100%. I remember that day, January 31st of 2019. That's when I fully committed to a better relationship with food. That's when I decided to do what everyone else wasn't doing because I knew it was right for me. That one decision changed my life. That one decision of being different is what allowed me to stop binge eating and feel the most confident I ever had in my own skin. And so just like this weekend, I know it's such a silly example, but everyone else wearing cowgirl hats and cowgirl boots and, dressing up like that. That's not who I am. And I was like, I'm going to be different. What actually feels good for me is I'm going to look like I'm going to the beach. I actually got a compliment. Somebody, I literally walked up. You got to get a wristband. And the person there, she was like, oh, I really like your top. I actually noticed you from so far away. And as soon as I came up to her, she's like, I just had to tell you that I loved your top so much. And I made a comment and I said, well, thank you, because it literally looks like I'm going to the beach. I'm literally in a bikini and I wore a beach hat. I wore a beach hat. I wore a bikini top, a bathing suit cover up. And I looked like nobody else. And I was the one that got complimented because everyone else kind of looked the same, to be honest with you. Not that that's wrong. I mean, you're going to a rodeo. I mean, it does make sense to look like a cowgirl. That also does make sense. So I understand that point of view. But for me, it didn't feel right for me. Even I went to the yoga studio the other day and I was telling them that I went to the rodeo. And I was like, yeah, I don't have boots, cowgirl boots or whatever. And somebody was like, I literally have 6 pairs if you ever need to, borrow a pair. I got your back. I literally have 6 pairs. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not who I am. That's just not me. So I stayed true to myself. And I know it's such a simple example, but I felt amazing. I felt confident. I felt comfortable. I felt like myself. And same in 2019, right? Yeah, was it scary to do something different? Is it scary to kind of stand out? Is it scary to do what everyone else isn't doing? Yes. But when you know in your heart and your soul that you're meant to do something, you have to listen to it. Even some of my clients, I have, conversations with them and they're like, sometimes it's hard because they're like, I know that I need to heal my relationship with food. But, my friend's still dieting or my coworker's still dieting or my mom's still dieting. And, it's so easy to let external factors, influence your decisions. But this is your time to stay in your own lane, to listen to your heart, to commit to what you know is best for you. F diet culture. You've got bigger and better goals to focus on. Forget about what everyone else is doing. They're not you. Forget if everyone else is going to the restaurant and whatever, can't eat this or can't eat that, or gotta eat low carb. Let them. It's not you. So let people do whatever they want to do And just the same as you got to let yourself do what you want to do. Because as a result, you're going to live a life free from binge urges. You're going to make yourself proud and you're going to conquer binge eating. You absolutely can continue to do what everyone else is doing, but you're also going to get the results that everyone else is doing, which is still obsessing over food and calories. Nobody talks about this, but there are so many people who are super in their head about food and calories. And, I even went to a birthday party today and it was like, just work out extra by having the piece of cake. Like, everyone is actually still so stuck in diet culture and it's so sad. Be the person to heal so you no longer get triggered. Be the person to heal your relationship with food so that you can go to a birthday party and have the dessert if you want or not have the dessert. Like, I actually didn't even have cake because it did not even look good. And I was like, I don't even feel like birthday cake right now. And you can do that in a way that feels so empowering, not like I got to deprive myself. It's like I am so empowered to make decisions that make me feel good. If I was insecure, I probably would have gone to this rodeo and worn what everyone else was wearing because I need to fit in. No, I was born to stand out. You were born to stand out. So you can fit in with the crowd, continuing to diet, and, continue to do what everyone else is doing, or you can lead yourself. You can change your life. You can change your family's life, because as a result of you healing your relationship with food, that's going to impact your children. I've had so many clients that I've worked with where, they're like, my daughter is starting to notice that, like, I'm eating with them and I'm not having my own meals and I'm not tearing myself apart, and it's impacting my daughter. Like, my daughter is able to stop eating when she's full. Like, she's paying attention to how certain foods makes her feel. It's a ripple effect when you do this work. I know that eventually one day, if Andrew and I have children, like, my daughter or son is going to have a good relationship with food because I'm going to be that example. So it's not just you feeling like the oddball out, because you're actually going to create this ripple effect on your children, future generations, like, and people at your work are going to notice, like, what are you doing? Like, you're just happier. You're so much healthier. Like, people can feel it. When I started healing my relationship with food, I've had people ask me, like, Lorna, what are you doing? I've had people ask me, what workout plan are you on? I'm like, I'm not on a workout plan. I literally just have a good relationship with food and I'm not binging. So I'm not inflamed and my body doesn't look like I'm a puffball anymore because I'm no longer binging. So there's so many incredible things that come out of you staying in your own lane, you putting blinders on, doing what feels best for you, not what anyone else is doing. It's the greatest thing that you can do. And I still do this to this day, whether it's what I'm wearing, what I'm saying, my actions. Like, it actually does not even matter what anyone else is doing, whether it's what they're eating, what they're wearing, what they're saying. It doesn't matter. Stay true to yourself. Get to know yourself. What's most important for you? What are your values? What do you need to prioritize right now? You never know. You never know what other people are doing behind the scenes. You never know, like, you actually never really know. And again, it doesn't even matter what anyone else is doing because they're not you. They're not you. I could have in 2019 said, well, all these other people are, like, able to stick to their macros. Like, I can't. Like, maybe I just need to try harder. And I told myself that so many times until I said, you know what? But they're not me. Maybe they don't have a poor relationship with food. Or maybe they do, and again, behind the scenes, they're actually binging and they're not sharing that on social media. Or maybe they just have a healthy relationship with food and it's actually, like, really easy for them to track their food. It's really easy for them to do intermittent fasting or whatever it is. Like, good for them, but, like, that's not me. Good for them, but it's not me. And not in, like, an asshole way, but, like, good for them. But, like, what I need to do is heal my relationship with food. You do that. You listen to your heart. You listen to yourself. Even if you're the only one walking down that path, you walk down that path. And you're not even going to be lonely, especially if you're inside the membership. In my Rewire membership, you're inside of Conquer, or you're a client in the academy. You're not walking along by yourself. You have this entire community of other badasses that are like, I thought I was alone until I came to your community. That's what all my clients say. And it's going to feel like you're the only one healing your relationship with food because nobody's talking about it. You don't go out for lunch with your coworkers and they're like, oh yeah, I'm healing my relationship with food. I'm working on my mental health. Like, no. So you come into my badass community and you're like, finally, I don't feel alone. Thank God. I don't feel like this oddball out. Like, number one, I'm doing what I know I need to do, heal my relationship with food. But then also number two, thank God I have other people beside me, because guess what? You're going to go to social events and get triggered. You're going to have people make comments. And when you know that like you're actually making the right decision, you're not questioning yourself, you're going to keep going. When you try to do this on your own and you're like, because this happened to me when I first made the decision of I'm not dieting anymore, I'm eating intuitively. I tried on my own first. And I was so confident at the time, I got to eat intuitively. And then I started feeling even more out of control. I started getting in my head. I started feeling like I was blowing up. I felt like I was like gaining weight. And I was like, there's no way this is right. But it wasn't that it wasn't right. It's just number one, I wasn't actually doing things properly. Number two, I didn't have other people around me to remind myself like this is the right path for me. So of course I reverted back to old habits until I got the proper support. And so you might keep second guessing yourself, trying to stop dieting and then go back to dieting until you actually be part of my badass community and surround yourself with other people who are so committed. Like they're not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like, no, I'm ready to do this. Like I'm going all in. This is why my membership is 6 or 12 months. This is why my program Conquer is 6 or 12 months, because you're not half in and half out. You're all in when you work with me. You're so committed to healing your relationship with food, and same with every other person inside of the program. And that's why you're gonna get incredible results, because you don't start something and then stop. You start it and you keep going until you conquer binge eating. So thank you for listening to this episode. Stay in your own lane. Blinders on, stay so focused, listen to your heart, listen to your truth, and I promise you're going to make yourself so damn proud.